Sorry, you were breaking up a little bit in the
It was
beginning.
a little
so
choppy.
sorry.
Gotcha. I'm still trying to formulate it, but I'm a little curious if you've ever been surprised by someone where kind of the opposite of the story you just told, where it wasn't going so well, and then your attitude towards them really shifted in the opposite direction.
Yes, 100%. And I can, like I mentioned just briefly there, I've definitely been fooled. I've definitely been told what I anticipated someone that can do, and they weren't able to do it, right? And it's kind of what it just happens. Again, like what I was mentioning earlier in the very beginning, is as a startup and as an entrepreneur and someone that I'm trying to build, that's why I was saying earlier that hiring is it's a very underrated risk and a threat, because if you hire the wrong person, it could be very detrimental for the growth of the company, very detrimental for what you're trying to build. And they could totally have fooled you, right? And that's why I'd say like hiring is just one of those things that you have to be very careful about it. But yes, there's always going to be the risk that you can be, taken advantage of. And it is an unfortunate situation, but definitely try to keep cues on the traits and the risk factor, right? Like let's mention earlier, we're all remote, right? So I don't know what you do during the day, right? If you're on Slack with me, or if you're not on a Zoom call with me, I'm just assuming that you're doing what you say you're doing, right? And there's another thing that I always say to people is like, you're judged really with what you do when no one's looking. That's really how most people are judged. So if I don't know really what you're doing, then I'm just kind of assuming that you're doing it. But you have to kind of pick up on some of that stuff. If they miss meetings, right? Or they're, I don't know, if they're late on commits, if they're not really involved with GitHub, or not involved with Slack channels and Slack communication, or Teams, really anything. It doesn't really matter, but I just say Slack because I use it all the time. And so if they're not doing that, then there may be something going on. So you can always ask, hey, are you okay? Is there something that I can do for you? And then another thing, just really be supportive all the way up until the point where you're like, I can no longer do it because we're not being able to get our job done as founders and as entrepreneurs. We're not moving the product forward. So you might not, be the best fit for where we're trying to go. And, it happens. But yeah, it's one of those unfortunate situations for sure. But try to do the best that you can up front, and try to do the best, like what I was mentioning, onboarding and that experience, because there are cues that you just have to pick up on them.